This show is brought to you by the Deluxe Edition Network. Head over to theden.show for other great podcasts.
We'll do it live! Fuck it!
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Deluxe Edition. We are live here and we're doing things a little different tonight. Bill could not join us, so joining me from the 10 Cent Beer Night podcast, my buddy Ray.
What's going on, Casey?
How you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm having the time of my life.
Good, man. So Ray, you're on the let's just knock the plugs right out of the way. You're on our network, the Den, the Deluxe Edition Network. Tell everyone where you can find your show.
You can find the 10 Cent Beer Night podcast on Spotify. There you go. Go to Spotify. Make sure you spell it with a K, though, like Medieval Knights.
Yes.
Because you don't want to end up listening to the other one and going, this Ray guy isn't very good. So, yeah, make sure you go to the right one. And on Instagram, I am Ray the Podcaster 3. And I'm also on Facebook. You can come hang out with me there. So that's my plugs. That's all I got.
All right. So, like I said, Bill's on vacation, so I'm running the show tonight. We're gonna do things a little different. I see Ray, you're drinking a beer there. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a lovely Busch Light in the John Deere cans. So
there you go.
I do want to get the dudes Ron from Barrel Aged Flicks to come on and review cheap-ass beers with me, like Busch Light and Pabst. You know, put it in a fancy red Solo cup, maybe swirl it around a little bit, and, you know, get his opinion of them.
Get fancy with it.
Yeah, because I know they drink a lot of fancy beers, so he should be able to tell me which one of the cheap ones is the best.
Yeah, they drink a lot of fancy stuff on there. Speaking of Barrel Aged Flicks, they are the podcast of the month on the Den Network. So check those guys out. And Bill told me I should do this as my own show. But since Bill isn't here today, we're gonna do things a little different. I have this. I've never tried this before. And,
what you got there?
It's called New City Mule. I like the Moscow mules.
Okay.
So I've been checking these different craft beers out and such. And this is a hard ginger beer with fresh lime that's supposed to taste sort of just like a Moscow Mule. So let's crack this open. I have my copper mug here already pre-filled with some ice.
Nice.
For that. You like the Moscow Mules, Ray?
I like alcohol.
Doesn't much matter what it is.
I'm not real particular.
All right. Squeeze a little lime in there. Let's try this.
All right, he's lifted the glass to his face and poured some in. So
that is really good.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, 6% alcohol by volume. Yeah, that is really good. That tastes a lot like a Moscow Mule. I'm not sure if this is a beer? It's gluten-free, right? That's all we really need to know, right?
Well, I'm pretty sure for those people who are worried about it, all beer is considered organic.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that a true statement?
Oh, that is true. Unless they put something weird in it, it's organic. Hops, barley, rice, water.
Yeah, but what if they're not organically growing that stuff?
Oh, yeah. How are you going to prove that?
I don't know. All right, let's get into the show. Ray, on your show, you do a news segment.
I do. It's probably my favorite part of my show.
Yeah, let's give our listeners a little taste of your show, and why don't you do your news segment?
All right, Casey, let's do some news. That'll be fun.
All right.
Okay, so let's start off with Stranger Things. They've got some continuity things that they're not happy with. So in the first season, there's a shot of a calendar that shows Will's birthday is March 22nd. but they flubbed it in the later seasons and forgot. So what they're going to do is what they call George Lucasing, where you go back and you just fix it. So it now is an official thing that when you go back and fix a movie like Star Wars, it's now called George Lucasing. Because he's most famous for going back and changing the explosions and put that third rock over R2-D2 in the cave. But it turns out the Duffer Brothers, this isn't the first time they've done it on the show.
What?
They've done this multiple times in multiple seasons. Even this season, they've already retconned some stuff and changed it. Nobody actually pays attention to it because once you watch it, you move on. So,
right.
How you feel about George Lucas messing with the Star Wars movies?
So this is new to me. So I read the article that you sent me earlier. I didn't know that. I'm not a big Star Wars guy. So he goes back in. The movie was done in the 70s.
Right.
He comes back in, realizes that everybody noticed this stuff, and they're pissed off about it. And then he comes in and fixes it years later.
Yeah, because the CGI is better.
Content.
Yeah.
He basically to make more money on new content.
It kind of works the opposite though, because everybody gets pissed off that he did it, and they're like, "It's a masterpiece. Leave it alone. It didn't need a third rock, or it didn't need a bigger explosion." He'll go back in and he'll just do silly things like add extra stormtroopers to a scene to make it look bigger. Like I know they did it to E.T. too, because in the original movie version, the agents have guns at the end. And Spielberg went back and took the guns out and put walkie-talkies in their hands.
What?
Yeah, because he didn't like the idea of them having guns on these kids. So it's not uncommon for.
New to me.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for it to happen. I just thought it was weird that Stranger Things. I get fixing the date because they're going to change it to May instead of March, because they can make her say that. You know, it's one word, syllable thing. Her mouth will move right, and no one will notice. But.
Right.
I don't know what these other things they changed are.
So basically, if no one has seen it after they've changed it, or if no one has seen it, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like people that haven't seen it already, they're not going to know that it was ever changed. But people that have already seen it and go back and watch it, they're going to think, "Why the fuck was that changed?"
Yeah,
I thought they said March before.
Yeah, you might get the Mandela effect going on with that then. So I thought that was kind of cool. All right, let's try another one. Let's see. What's the other story I sent you? Oh, Megadeth. Mr. Dave Mustaine says, "I have forgiven David Ellefson. We'll just call him David, the bass player. I hate them tough names to say. That gets me all the time. But he won't play music with him again." And I thought this was kind of weird because this has always been a weird situation. I don't know how much you know about this.
None.
All right, so last year it came out that he liked to diddle himself on live streams with girls who are like 17, 18 years old. David, the bass player.
Okay.
So it put Mustaine in a tough spot because David helped him start the band back in the 80s.
Right.
And he's been in and out, in and out. So he had to fire him, brought in a new bass player and stuff. And the fans aren't happy because none of us give a crap what this guy did on camera with, himself, basically. Right. He didn't even cheat. He's just doing things to himself while he's talking to her. So, right. But what caught my attention was, which I forgot, was that David Ellefson had sued Dave Mustaine in 2004 for unpaid royalties. Oh. And even though this all happened, he came back to the band again, and Dave Mustaine forgave him for it. So I think the whole thing's insane. I can't believe that these two have been together basically for 40 years or whatever, and they still bicker and fight like little kids. And we all know he's coming back to the band at some point. He ain't gonna be gone forever. So
you think that as a fan, yeah. You think he will be back?
Oh, absolutely. He's coming back for round 3. Come on.
Yeah.
Because you know people you've known a long time. You get in these arguments with them, and you get mad at them for a while, and then you run into them, and the next thing you know, it's like nothing happened, and you're just hanging
Right.
out, and everything's fine. So
Right. Yeah, people forget basic. Well, something I would imagine something this big though. They're not going to forget as to what it was that.
this one might not blow over so quick, but I think it'll eventually work itself out. I mean, that could happen to anybody, you know.
Yeah, and what? So tell me about the allegations. Everything was over the internet, or what? He never met anyone, or?
Yeah, well, they accused him of grooming, saying the girl was underage when he first started talking to her on the internet and stuff. And the girl said nothing ever happened until after I was 18, and it was all on camera. And her friend's the one who released the video. So technically, everything would have been fine. And unfortunately, Mr. Ellison is married, so
Right.
it kind of gave a bad look. But he's a rock star.
Right. And nothing. It wasn't anything illegal, right? I mean, it was all
everything was. Yeah, but it's that whole grooming thing that they're talking about now.
Sure.
But I like my rock stars a little dirty and on the bad side of things. You know, it's like, you know, when you find out one's not an alcoholic or on drugs, they're just like totally sober. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
What a waste of millions of dollars. You can do anything you want. You can actually get safe drugs. You're not buying them out of the. You're not buying it out of the back of a van behind a Kmart.
Right.
Like, it's delivered.
Yeah. Is this true? Maybe you know this. Keith, the dude from the Rolling Stones.
Keith Richards?
Keith Richards. Is it true that he used to get, like, after partying all night, like, crazy, would he actually get blood transfusions? Like, just complete, all new blood? Have you ever heard that story?
I've heard that, and I don't know if it's true or not, but, you know, that's also a waste of good blood with a high alcohol content.
yeah, but that's a fucking rock star, dude, if that's true.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, there's pictures of, like, him falling out of trees, and dude's like, I don't even know how old he is now. And he just keeps going and going. That's how you do it. That's a rock star right there.
Hell yeah. Have you ever seen that meme with Johnny Cash where he's
in the bushes eating the cake? Yeah. That's one of the funniest memes I've ever seen.
It's like, you might have been high, but you've never been Johnny Cash eating cake in a bush high.
All right. Did you want to stop there, or do you want to do more news?
Give me one more news.
All right, because we got a lot to get to, you know.
I know.
All right. Let's see here. Let's do. I want to do the Instagram one. So Instagram has decided that for their platform, to prove you're over 18, you have to do one of three things. Okay, you can upload a photo of your driver's license, which there ain't no way in hell I'm doing that for Instagram. Yeah, they can go away with that one. You can ask 3 mutual friends to tell them what your actual age is, and I don't trust my friends enough not to screw it up on purpose. Or you can send them a video selfie of you talking into the camera, which they will send to a company in London, and that company will use their program to determine whether you look like you're 18 years old or not. Is that not the dumbest shit you ever heard?
Is there anything, now I'm asking you this, is there anything that you would send your photo, your ID, across the internet to someone? Is there anything that...
No, there is nothing that I'm sending a picture of my goddamn driver's license over the internet. I don't even like giving people my credit card number over the phone. Like, when I went camping a couple weeks ago, and they were like, yeah, you can make a reservation, just give me your credit card number over the phone. I was like, nah, I'll stop up after work. I can totally do that. Yeah, I don't need you writing that thing down.
4 minutes away?
Yeah, I was like 4 minutes from the place. And I'm just like, nah, I'm cool with you not writing it on a piece of paper. And even if you throw it in the trash, I don't need that floating around in the garbage. With my name and all the codes and everything, I'll pass. So, no, I'm not a fan of any of these platforms doing this. But it's weird because in France there's a thing called UBO, and they already do this with facial recognition. And a place in China, of all things, their platform is called Tencent. They use facial recognition to determine if someone's a minor or not. So I really don't know why they give two shits if someone's over 18 or not, because there's no nudity on Instagram.
Right, yeah, they pulled that down immediately.
Yeah, not that I can find.
Right. So one thing about the Instagram thing, you said what, 4 friends? They can get 4 friends to verify.
Yeah,
who's to say? I personally have like 7 Instagram accounts. So like, what's to say that that this person doesn't have 4 accounts that they're.
I don't know. It really makes no sense. But really, it's like if you're a 13-year-old, you go to school and you say, hey, I'll do it for you, you do it for me, we all do it for each other, and now we're all 18 and can be on Instagram and do whatever we want.
Is that the benefit? Like, what is the benefit of it, though?
I have no idea. They're trying to make it so that it seems like they give a shit who's on their platform. That's all it is. They're catching crap because I guess a 13-year-old saw some girl jumping on a trampoline or something. That's, who cares?
Oh, my God.
Who gives a rat's ass what these kids do?
Right. Oh, my God. Yeah, so that's funny that you said that you bring that up, because just this past week in California, we were talking about this earlier. I travel for work, and I was in California, and I was like, I worked all fucking day, hot. I was like, fuck this. Weed's legal here. I'm going to order some marijuana online on Weed Maps and have it delivered directly to my hotel room. And I did that, and the first thing they were like, could you please send us a picture of your driver's license? So
did you?
Click the picture of my driver's license. Fucking 2 seconds later, I get a message. Could you please send us a selfie of you holding your driver's license? Absolutely.
Well, I guess when in Rome, huh?
When in Rome. Yeah, man, absolutely. Fuck, I'll send it to anybody. What are they gonna steal? I got nothing to steal. I got no information to steal.
That's true. And honestly, if I was in a hotel room and I ran out of beer and I had to have it delivered, I'd probably take a picture of my social security card for them just to get the beer.
There you go.
And Casey, that wraps up the news.
Very good. So if you would like to hear more news segments from Ray, when does your show come out, Ray? When do you put your show out?
I like to put them up on Mondays or Tuesdays.
So
it's usually once a week, but sometimes I skip a week depending on how drunk we get on the Sundays, me and my co-host Rob. So.
Sure. So get your weekend pop culture news from Ray every Monday or Tuesday when he doesn't get too drunk with his co-host Rob right next door.
Yep.
All right. So, Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Today we are breaking down the top, as voted, we are breaking down the top 80s and 90s cartoons. We had this bracket here that I did on bracketfights.com. And would you like me to start at the top, the number 1 show, or the lower show?
Take your pick, because I think the fans might have missed out on a couple of cartoons that should have absolutely been on this thing.
Well, that's why we brought you in here. Get your opinion.
Where the hell is Ren and Stimpy?
Dude, I don't know. I had a lot of trouble getting a little momentum going on this.
You know what the stupid part is, though? I could have just went on there and put Ren and Stimpy and Transformers, but I assumed they would just be on there. So
yeah.
But I left it to everybody else. I'm looking at this list like, huh.
Well, one thing, some of the top shows that got voted on that people wanted to be on this list were actually shows that came out in the 60s. Like the Flintstones and the Jetsons. Like, they got a lot of airtime in the 80s. They got replayed in the 80s, but they actually came out in the 60s. So
yeah.
I technically couldn't put those on the list.
More like Underdog, Hong Kong Phooey.
Right.
Back in the 80s, we used to watch the shit out of that stuff.
Right.
So, all right, let's start wherever you're going to start.
We're going to start with the last one as voted number 16 by our group, the Deluxe Edition. And if you would like to join our group, head over to Facebook and just search Deluxe Edition, a classic pop culture podcast. So number 16 was Spider-Man, the animated series. Came out in 1994, ran from November 94 to January of 98. 5 seasons. There were 65 episodes. Voices, some voices that were in the show that popped out at me were Ed Asner. There was another one here that I saw. Hank Azaria. Hank Azaria was a show, and Mark Hamill also did a voice on Spider-Man.
Yeah, he was. He was Hobgoblin.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate that they skipped over Green Goblin at least once and just went to the Hobgoblin, because he's also a really cool character. So I like that. I like that Joe Perry from Aerosmith sang and played the Spider-Man theme song on this thing. That makes it a little more fun. Overall, it's good. It's not great, but they got a lot of great voice talent on this thing.
Yeah.
But it's ranked a little lower than I think it should be, considering the animation's good, the storylines are, it's Spider-Man, it's Peter Parker, got spider powers. It's not nothing we haven't already seen every time they reboot this thing.
Right. Let me ask you something about did you watch this when it was on?
Oh fuck no, man! I was 94. I was an adult.
You were a lot older, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you know this though? When they do cartoons of comic books, are they pulling directly from the comics, or are they writing new stories?
They do pull a lot from the comics, but I do know in this case they had a lot of problems with there's a lot of things you can't bring over to TV from comic books. You can't say kill, you can't say death, you can't show anybody pointing a gun at a kid. There's so many rules. So a lot of the storylines get screwed up because they gotta fix it. And since Spider-Man was geared towards kids, they had to really tone down a lot of the violence, in these comic books. But
yeah.
But Spider-Man's never been a big, violent comic book, anyways, in my opinion. So, yeah.
I never knew that about in animation. Is that they can't point guns at kids? And
yeah,
I never knew that stuff.
Yeah, any show that is based towards kids, they got all these crazy ass rules that words you can't say, and just things you can't do.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming back in the 90s, when people actually gave a shit about the kids, that it was a little more harsh than it is today, because you watch these shows now and anything goes.
Yeah.
It's insane what's going on in some of these cartoons.
It really is. All right, number 15, Ray. Rugrats.
Yeah.
Rugrats focuses on a group of toddlers, Tommy, Chucky, Angelica, and the twins Phil and Lil, and basically just their day-to-day lives. Ran from August 11th, 1991 until August 1st, 2004. What do you know about Rugrats, Ray?
I know that I dislike this show immensely because the sound of children's voices, when forced out of an adult's mouth, just is so fucking annoying. But I also know that the character Tommy Pickles had a toy named Reptar.
Reptar?
And he looked so much like Godzilla that when the toy line came out, they got sued by the Godzilla people and had to take that thing off the shelves.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a nice little piece of trivia there.
Yeah. I care more about the trivia about this show than I do the actual show, because I thought this thing so garbagey. And there's actually a fan theory that none of the other kids existed, and the character of Angela, they were just all imaginary, and in her head, and she was fucking crazy. Yeah.
What?
It got so much traction on the internet that the showrunners actually came out and said, no, that is absolutely not true. That's how much traction that rumor got. But
Isn't that crazy, dude?
Yeah.
That a rumor on the internet about a cartoon that the showrunners had to come out and actually say that that's not true. It's not. First of all, it's not real. It's a cartoon.
Yeah. Did you watch this one?
No, this was a little after my time. I was 11 when this came out, 91. So I was probably still watching cartoons at this time, but not the Rugrats. I remember seeing it on, but not a show that I watched.
Now I did sample like this one. I did sample a little bit of it just to make sure I hated it as much as the last time I saw it on TV. And I absolutely, as soon as I heard the voices, I was like, yeah, I'm out.
Well, let's see. Some more notable things about Rugrats. It gained over 20 awards, even though Ray and I do not like it. 20 awards during its 13-year run, including 4 daytime Emmys, 6 Kids' Choice, and its own star on the Walk of Fame, Hollywood Walk of Fame. While I mentioned the Walk of Fame, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, I want to bring this up. How do you feel about the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
I used to think it was really cool.
I did too.
And then I found out that like you can like buy one.
Right. That's
and you have to maintain it. And when you stop, they just take yours out and sell it to somebody else to come and put theirs in.
Yeah, it's like $50,000.
Yeah.
You have to come up with a $50,000, and it's like a committee of like 8 people that vote on it. And like basically the vote, I guess, is do they have the $50,000 to pay for it or not?
Pretty much. Because to me, I always just assumed it was famous people that they just wanted to have there.
Right.
I didn't know there was money being exchanged. I didn't know it had payola involved.
Yeah, it's all about the money, Ray.
Yeah, it always
all
is.
About the money.
Ruins everything.
Couple quick little shout outs here. We're getting some comments. Kyle from the Return of the Living Flet over on the Den says, hey Casey and Ray. What's up, Kyle? And then our friend Stevie McQueen from over in I believe he's in the UK. So, all right, let's see what's up next, Ray. Number 14, Ducktales.
Ducktales.
The original cartoon series premiered on syndication and on Disney Channel September 18th, 1987, and ran for a total of 100 episodes over 4 seasons. Its final episode was November 28th, 1990. It was based on Uncle Scrooge and other Duck Universe comic books created by Carl Barks. Follows Scrooge McDuck and his 3 grandnephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie. This was a good show. I like DuckTales.
Yeah, I gotta say,
I watched.
Yeah, even though I was like 15 when this came out, I still enjoy this one because Donald Duck's always funny.
Yeah.
Scrooge is such a dick; he's always funny, and the 3 nephews, amazing. So
yeah,
the voice acting too.
Who was the guy with the shovel here in the middle, Ray? Do you remember? He was the pilot. I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name either.
But yeah, he was. I remember he was a good character. But yeah, that was a good show.
The animation's fantastic. Like that's high budget animation. That's not some shitty 60s, using the same shots over and over again like the Flintstones where they're walking past stuff. This was a really well-made show.
Yeah.
And I rewatched this one like I did all these, just a quick little check-in. And this was still funny. I still was entertained by this.
Yeah, this actually, in February 2015, Disney announced the revival of this show. And the reboot started August 12th, 2017, and concluded last year, March 15 of 2021. So got 2 runs. And then there was also a bunch of spin-off shows that came with this. Chip and Dale, Rescue Rangers. There was Tailspin. And then there was another show called Darkwing Duck.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right. Next up in the lineup, Ray, number 13, The Bugs Bunny and Tweety Show.
Yeah.
The cast of Bugs was the cast of Looney Tunes. It was just basically an anthology of fun classic cartoons featuring most of the cast. They were edited to take out characters whose inclusion was deemed insensitive to certain groups, such as Speedy Gonzales.
That's ridiculous. He's beloved. I don't know how you take out a beloved character like that just because he's a stereotype. Like Elmer Fudd's a stereotype too.
Right.
You don't see him gone.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, how do you think the people who loved Speedy Gonzales, his people, like, how do you think they feel about that, taking a?
Like, I think they're upset. I really do.
I would be.
Just like I know a lot of fat white dudes who go hunting that don't act like Elmer Fudd. They're not upset about that character. Everybody laughs. This one's just basically Bugs Bunny. That's all it is. Yeah. It's a good time. Once again, animation's always good. I don't like they're heavily edited for TV. For when they re-released them, they started editing out all kinds of things like, God forbid you see Bugs Bunny stick his finger in the end of a gun so that it blows up in Elmer's face.
Right.
Because what kid in his right mind is going to stick his finger in the barrel of a gun and try and, blow the attacker up with it? Like, nobody's that stupid.
Well,
all right, maybe they are, but really, is that a bad thing if they blow themselves up? I mean,
yeah. I mean, let's get this straight. Anyone who's sticking their gun in the end of the fucking their finger in the end of a gun, they maybe just let it go.
It's one of those things that needs to be done. The sacrifice is made for all the rest of the dumb people to see it on the internet so that they know not to do it.
Right.
Like when we were kids, it was like passed around on the playground. I got this cousin who knows a kid stuck his finger in a gun, and guess what? Bullet didn't come out the back end. Blew his whole arm off. It's crazy. That's how we knew.
That's exactly how it went down. Oh shit, that's amazing.
What do we got next?
This next one, Ray. I was not familiar with this one. Number 12. Mask.
Yeah, Mask is the generic G.I. Joe.
The French American G.I. Joe, right?
Yeah, something like that.
It stood for Mobile Armored Strike Command, and command was with a K.
Yeah, which immediately gets a strike. It immediately gets a strike for not being smart enough to come up with a way to use a K rather than say command. You got a strike already. All right, let's go, Casey. What's the next strike they get?
The next strike they get is I don't know. I never heard of this show, so that's a strike. I mean, they obviously didn't do. I was 5 at the time this came out, 1985. So like, I knew about G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe was like my show.
Oh, G.I. Joe was kicking this one's butt all across the board. This show was not very good. Generic character names like Matt Tracker and Miles Mayhem. The bad guys were Venom, Vicious Evil Network of Mayhem. The hell is going on with that? Everybody's got to have an acronym now?
That's a pretty good one, though.
It's not bad, but come on.
At least they use the right letters for every word.
Well, you know what? Maybe I should have just rooted for the bad guys, and I would have liked the show a lot more, because at least they can spell.
Yeah.
Not good.
Go ahead.
Not good.
Yeah, so the Venom's primary goal was just obtaining money through robbery, extortion, counterfeiting, kidnapping, and attempting to steal historical facts. But Mask always found a way to foil their plans.
Yeah, their theme song sucked. The only thing I'll give this show credit for is it's the first series to ever run with closed caption.
Oh, okay.
So at least people could read it and go, that sounds just as dumb when I read it to myself as when they say it. So,
were they also trying to
the message
go off of Transformers?
No,
No?
They drove trucks and their mask gave them powers. But as you can clearly see, those are fucking helmets.
Yeah.
Okay? They're not masks, they're helmets. The show should have been called Helmet, but they probably weren't smart enough to figure out an acronym for helmet.
Boy, that acronym is way too long. We can't come up with that. Yeah, mask. That's one I've never heard of. So were like the mask toys the toys that you would find in like the dollar store?
It should have been. I don't think they sold very well.
Like the generic, those generic toys?
Yeah, when you were a kid, when you went to the store, the G.I. Joe, Star Wars, Transformers, they dominated those toy aisles.
Yeah.
So mask never stood a chance. They weren't getting into that aisle. So yeah, they were probably in the bin at the end, and all the employees just opened it up and dumped the characters into the bin, and they were like, yeah, $5 for $1 or whatever, and you don't even know who they are because they're all open already.
All right, Ray, moving on. Number 11, Batman, the animated series. This was a really good show. I thought this would have been higher on the list. Originally aired on Fox Kids from September 5th, 1992 to September 15th, 1995, with a total of 85 episodes. For the final 20 episodes, the series was given the on-screen titles of The Adventures of Batman Robin, and which was also used then for the reruns of earlier episodes. Voices of Kevin Conroy, he did Batman, and then Mark Hamill was also in this one, famously known for the Joker. He's one of the best Joker voices ever.
Yeah, this is like his big comeback thing. Like, he nails the Joker.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this show is what made Harley Quinn a beloved cosplay thing.
Yeah.
Like, this is the moment when everybody was like, oh, Harley Quinn, fantastic.
Well, yeah, Bill told me this. I didn't realize this. This was where Harley Quinn got invented, right? This is
the version that we all know of her. This is where it comes from.
Yeah.
I think there were other versions of her, but they were brief or just not quite the same. She was like a psychologist or whatever.
Okay.
She may have existed, but this is the first time where they took her and did something different. And it's the first time you're watching a cartoon going, you know what? That's kind of a woman that I'd be attracted to. She's insane.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, and I don't know why, because she's a bag person, every little girl is wearing these costumes at Halloween, and I'm like, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Kind of weird that little kids are wearing these costumes.
Right. Yeah, it's not so bad when Margot Robbie's wearing it, but
yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah. But when you got an 8-year-old that trick or treating the neighborhood in the same outfit that says "Daddy's Little Monster," it's like
it's a little strange.
You're ruining this whole concept. Can't you be a Pokemon or something? Just let it go. The theme song by Danny Elfman, really good. Once again, the animation is fantastic on that show. Storylines are good. That one actually is ranked a lot lower, like you said. This one's ranked a lot lower than I thought it would be.
Yeah. IGN.com listed Batman the Animated Series as the best adaptation of Batman anywhere outside of the comics. It's the best comic book television movie. Yeah. The best comic book television show of all time and the second best animated series of all time. TV Guide ranked it the 7th greatest cartoon of all time, and it led to 4 Emmy Awards, including the Outstanding Animated Program.
Which is crazy because it only ran 2 seasons.
Yeah.
To
85 episodes.
Yeah, to have that high of accolades you'd say, oh, how many seasons does it have? 25, 30?
Right.
Nope, 2.
Right.
The hell's going on with these things?
Yeah, and like when I think of when I think of the animated, like those are the only voices of animated Batman characters that I know. Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill.
Yeah, I remember them from the old Justice League stuff, the meanwhile back at the Hall of Justice or whatever it is. I kind of vaguely remember those, but it isn't until these guys really upped the game and made them sound really cool and different.
Right.
Because the other one, you couldn't tell Batman from Aquaman from Superman, really, because they all just did the same voice.
Right.
It was just like the typical dad voice from the 60s and 70s. Like, oh no, someone's doing something bad. I better go stop them.
Right.
That was it. They all just said the same things. And then Aquaman was like, well, I can't help you, so I'll just sit here in the hall and do nothing.
All right, Ray.
All right, what's next?
Number 10. We are at Gem. Remember this one?
I never saw this until, honestly, I've heard of it, but I never watched it until it made the list.
See, I thought you would have been a fan of this one. Gem. These were rockers. These were your kind of people.
Look, man, I don't like chick cartoons. And this one it's basically like about a girl who gets auto-tune for her birthday and becomes a rock star.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get this show at all. I watched some of it, and there was like this group of bad girls. And they were so fucking bad that they stole a bulldozer and started running shit over. And I'm like, oh, wait, hold on. These are high school kids? Or are they adults? What is going on? And like the one girl, she's trying to help the dude out of the lake and falls down in front of the bulldozer. And I'm like, yeah, I'm out. Forget this shit.
I remember this show.
The theme song is fucking horrible.
Is it?
Oh, man, you should have listened to it again. It's bad.
I remember this show being on. It was, let's see, 1985 through 1988, and it was the adventures of a music company owner who used a holographic computer to live a secret life as a rock star.
Yes.
Let's see. Jerica Benton runs Starlight Music, but she's also the pink-haired lead singer of Gem and the Holograms, a pop music girl group with really big dues and funky fashions that only the 80s could dream up. 3 seasons, number of episodes I don't have written down.
65.
65 episodes.
Yeah.
So it was a joint collaboration between Hasbro, Sunbow Productions, and Marvel, which was the same team responsible for G.I. Joe and the Transformer. So,
yes, this was these were dolls before it was its show. This was basically a cash grab. It was just the same thing they did with Transformers and G.I. Joe. They started making the toys first and said, all right, write a show with this shit. So they made these girl dolls, and they were like, they're a rock band. And they were actually really mad because then Barbie made a rock band version of her.
I remember that.
And the biggest problem that their product had is on the shelves in a toy store, the box has to be a certain size. A Barbie box, I believe, is like 13 and a half inches. These stupid boxes were like 14 and a half. So they couldn't fit them on the fucking shelves in the same pattern, so they never put them on the shelves.
Oh my god.
So, I mean, they couldn't make their box an inch smaller? Like, were they worried the Barbie company was going to sue them for using the same box? Stupid. Just
you know what we
stupid.
should do? Let's make these 1 inch bigger to make them really stand out.
Yeah, the kids will think they're getting more doll for their money.
Oh my god. That's crazy.
Like, you don't have one marketing guy in there that could go, hey, this box isn't the right size. Like, every other toy store in the country with dolls makes them the same size. It's like a Spinal Tap moment when the other guy goes, yes, but these are 1 inch bigger. They go to 14. And the other guy's just looking at him like, yeah, but why can't 13 be good? Why can't we just make 13 as good as 14 and stay there? So I didn't like this show. I know my co-host Rob actually loves this show, but that's because he has an older sister. So I think he got brainwashed into watching this instead of something good.
He had to have. That's the only explanation.
So I think maybe Saturday I'm going to sit him down and make him watch his whole series again. And be like, all right, now what do you think of it as an adult? And then he's going to be like, I'm calling my sister right now. This is stupid.
Make sure you let us know how that goes on the next 10-cent beer night.
I will.
All right. All right, Ray.
Boy, there's a lot of these. Dude, there's a lot of these left.
We're a little close to halfway through. Almost.
All right.
We're almost halfway through. We got, let's see. If we're keeping Bill's schedule, we have 15 minutes left. We're good. We got plenty of time. All right. Number 9, Thundercats. Thundercats follows the adventures of a group of cat-like humanoid aliens from the planet Thundera. When the dying planet meets its end, the group known as Thundercats is forced to flee its homeland. While leaving in their Thunder Fleet, the Thundercats are attacked by the mutants of Plundar, who attacked most of their starships. The damage means they cannot reach their intended destination, so they end up on Third Earth. First episode date, January 23rd, 1985. Number of seasons 4. Number of episodes 130.
This is all right show. It's not great. It's not bad. The names are so generic. You know.
Yeah.
Lion O, Panthro.
Just reading through that, the homeland of Plundar.
Yes. And the bad guy's name is Mumra. And his dog's name was like Mumut. Like, they're just shitty names. But here's the
show. Was this show where, or was this maybe that was He-Man where they Snarf?
This is Snarf. This is Snarf, yeah. And like the humans, they're like Safari Joe, who's dressed up in the big game hunting outfit, and it's like, the hell is this? Safari Joe? Is he gonna show me animals and let me pet them? What the fuck is going on here? But here I'm gonna say one thing about this show, and then we're fucking moving on. Between 1985 and 1989, there were 87 parents who named their daughters Chitara.
Come on.
87 children had to go through life named Chitara because of this piece of shit show.
No, not go through life. They're
still
going
here.
Through life.
Yeah, they're still here with us.
Hopefully. How many were there? 85?
87.
87? Dude.
87 parents thought that was the name.
The goal for this episode, our listeners, we are going to track down
a Chitara?
87 Chitaras and have them on the podcast.
And ask them how they feel about it.
Talk to them about their life living as a Thundercat.
Let's see. I'm going to go with 27 meth heads. Yeah, I don't even want to know. Maybe the others work in animation. Who knows?
Oh, my God. I wish you wouldn't have told me that, because now I have a lot of research to do. All right. Halfway through, Ray. Number 8.
All right.
Garfield and Friends. This was a good show. I really like this show. September 17th, 1988 through December 10th, 1994. Obviously based on the comic strip by Jim Davis. It ran on CBS Saturday mornings. 7 series. In addition to the segments featuring Garfield, the series also included segments featuring U.S. Acres, another strip by Davis. Just basically a bunch of different little vignettes, right?
Yeah, it's basically just a cat who hates Mondays and lasagnas, and he's got a bunch of barnyard friends, and this is one of those that's just fun. The poor owner got this cat, and you know how cat owners are. The cat just push him around, and it's typical. It makes perfect sense. I love the fact that Lorenzo Music does the voice for Garfield. and he did Venkman in the Real Ghostbusters, but Bill Murray did Garfield in the movie. So
yeah, in the movie,
it's a nice tie-in there.
Yeah.
But this show's fantastic. I love this one.
Yeah, I really like this one too. And bringing up the Real Ghostbusters, number 7 on our list, the Real Ghostbusters. A spin-off / sequel of the 1984 comedy, The Ghostbusters, ran from September 13th, 1986 until October 5th, 1991. Produced by Columbia Pictures and DIC Enterprises. Distributed, which I thought this was interesting, distributed by Coca-Cola Telecommunications. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, there was a time when Coca-Cola decided that they were going to do other things and do just pop, and they had a few successes here and there, but they made a lot of bad decisions too. So that's why they're not doing it anymore. Like, this was a good idea, but some of the other ones were not good ideas.
Vengeance is here. Vengeance Productions. Hello, Vengeance.
Welcome.
It's good to have you. Some voices on this show, Ray. Lorenzo Music, you said?
Yep.
He was also joined by Arsenio Hall, Dave
You know what
Coulier.
You know what the great part about Arsenio Hall playing Winston is?
Go ahead.
Ernie Hudson auditioned for that role and lost out to him.
Shut up.
Swear to God.
That's awesome.
How is that even possible? I'm sorry, but you don't sound enough like Winston.
I am Winston. Oh, shit. Buster Jones and Jeff Altman were also on there. The series just continues the adventure of the paranormal investigators from the movie. It was a direct sequel to the movie. Did you know that?
Yeah, I actually like this one. This one's fun. The animation's garbage as far as, like, you know, trying to up the game, but I think it was intentional to look that way. And it's a lot of fun. This is just a fun little show, and it's similar to like a Scooby-Doo. Things happen. They do stuff. There's funny things. There's exciting things. There's scary things. And at the end, everything works out. So yeah. I like this one.
Yeah, this was a good show. I remember as a kid, I had all of these toys, all the Ghostbusters toys.
Nice.
They're probably still up where my dad lives, up on the side of the hill, because I used to take like model rockets, and I would put them in the car and make ramps and blow them up and all that of shit. Probably worth so much money, and they're just all buried in a fucking mound of dirt somewhere.
That's awesome.
All right. Number 6, Ray. He-Man.
He-Man should be a lot higher than 6.
Yeah. Well, we're getting up there.
But once again, this is another one where the action figures came first. Mattel designed all the early characters like Skeletor and He-Man first, and then made a cartoon. So I like that concept. Yeah, I love that concept.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. So this show ran from September 5th, 1983 until September 20. I'm sorry. In the UK, it started September 5th, 1983. In the United States, it started September 26th and ran until November 21st, 1985. 2 seasons of 65 episodes each. That's a lot. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Towards the end of the show's original run, it spawned one feature-length theatrical movie, He-Man and She-Ra, The Secret of the Sword, which served as the introduction for the show's spin-off literal sister series, She-Ra, The Princess of Power. Was this the movie with Dolph Lundgren, He-Man?
No, that's just called Masters of the Universe, He-Man, whatever. That's a canon film, I believe.
So that had nothing to do with...
Well, here's the problem. They couldn't afford to build the sets. So they just moved it to New York. So basically, He-Man takes place in like New York or whatever, because they just didn't have the money to make the sets. So they were forced to just do that. So it's really not connected to the whole brand. But I will tell you this, man. There is not a tagline better than "By the Power of Grayskull," man.
Yeah.
How many times did you say that as a kid?
A lot. Yeah, this was another line of toys that I had that are buried somewhere in a mound of dirt. I had every He-Man, or sold at a yard sale somewhere by my parents when I was a kid.
There's one toy in particular that they made called the Bashosaurus.
Okay.
That the creator of this show originally wanted to call the Ballbuster. And they were like, we're not making a toy called the Ballbuster. Come on, man.
They weren't allowed to do that?
No, they boycotted the guy who created the show and said, I understand what you're talking about, Ballbuster, but it's not a good look. We're going to go with the Bashosaurus.
Let's see. The franchise has been adapted many times in comic book and comic strip form. The live-action film was made in 1987. A rebooted series, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, was renamed Masters of the Universe versus the Snake Men during the second season, was released in 2002. There was a continuation to that series released in 2021 for Netflix, and it was one is an animated CGI revival. I haven't seen that. Have you seen that yet?
No.
I think Kevin Smith had something to do with that.
Well, Kevin Smith, yeah, he did do this jacked up version of He-Man where he lied, and it's really just about the chicks being the superpowers. I love Kevin Smith, but he really dropped the ball with He-Man. I don't need He-Man to be woke.
Right.
Like, he's a fucking dude wearing a loincloth with giant muscles. Like, let's keep this thing simple. He fights a purple man with a skull face. Right. let's keep it easy going. Let's just flow with this. I don't need to know, tragic backstories of characters and stuff. And
well, the thing with that is, there was She-Ra.
Yeah.
So, like, why not? If you want to do, why not just make She-Ra? If you want to do, why turn
Teela?
He-Man into...
Teela's the character's name.
Teela.
She-Ra's from. What the fuck is she from? Teela's from He-Man.
Okay, I'm sorry.
She's like the redhead that also, for some reason, doesn't wear enough clothes.
Well, it says here that the reason I said that was it spawned one feature-length theatrical movie, He-Man and She-Ra.
Huh? Who the fuck is She-Ra?
It says she was the literal spin-off sister series, She-Ra, the Princess of Power.
No shit. Huh. Well, I'm going to get a lot of toxic mail for this, but if it's about girls, I generally, in this cartoon, I don't really watch it. Sorry. I'm just old and stupid and I don't know things. So, but this show had great characters, like Skeletor, He-Man, Trapjaw. Like, they really did a great job of making characters that you wanted to own. Like, right. I was 11 when this came out, and I bugged the fuck out of my mom to buy me these things. And then when she wouldn't, I shoplifted them.
That's awesome. You're not a shoplifter, Ray. Don't tell it. All right, number 5, Ray.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe.
This show is amazing.
Yeah, this was the one. This was my show when I was a kid. Ran 1983, September 12th, 1983 through my birthday, November 20th, 1986. Narrated by Jackson Beck. Let's see. Just tells the saga of a fearless, globe-trotting special missions force called G.I. Joe, which works to combat Cobra, an organization with an evil commander bent on world domination.
Some of the best action figures in the business right here.
Yeah.
You can start with Duke and Gung Ho and Snake Eyes and Destro or Cobra Commander. And like the shit they said on this show, when I was looking at it today, Duke's in a plane, and this guy does whatever he wants, but he's in a fighter plane, and he's like, "There's nothing better than a Cobra in your sights." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's a kid show from the '80s right there." Censors be damned.
Hell yeah. This was another. So I learned a lot on this episode. This one I did know. This was made after the action figures, correct?
Yep. This is the you can see the pattern starting to form for Hasbro.
Right. Do you know which was the first show to do that?
Man, it's got to be either G.I. Joe or it might be G.I. Joe.
Because G.I. Joe figures were made in the 60s and 70s, the original.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, my buddy had one of them gigantic ones that was his older brother. Dude, that thing was cool as shit.
Yeah, the original.
Yeah.
The big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, this show's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you got that message at the end.
Right.
And there's not a person alive that doesn't say, and knowing is half the battle, even if they don't even know where it comes from.
Right.
It's like me talking about glizzy gladiators. I picked it up at work one day, and now I know what it means now. But when they were talking about it, I know what the fuck a glizzy gladiator was.
Can you explain to the audience what
All right. So
I don't know.
At some point, and I don't know why, hot dogs are now called glizzies. Okay? And someone who takes a gigantic bite out of a hot dog is now considered a glizzy gladiator.
Dropping my papers here. A glizzy gladiator.
So if you want to impress your kids and your coworkers, bring some hot dogs to work, and at lunchtime just take a gigantic bite and go, I am such a glizzy gladiator, and see if the youngins around you are like, how do they even know that?
Well, I think hot dog stands need to start. There should be a glizzy on the menu.
They should start taking advantage of this, because it won't be. I'm telling you right now, it won't be long before you see it.
Right.
Where are we at?
We're still on G.I. Joe. I wanted to talk about G.I. Joe a little more. So the toys started first, then the cartoon. It also it was commercials that started. There were 3 commercials for the toys that started in 1983, and that led to the production of a 5-part miniseries. Then there was a movie, 1987, a full-length movie. Then the movie follows up the events of season 2, because they were only signed until season 2, and then they got signed for more. There's been a ton of different. I'm not gonna. I have a ton of notes here, but there's been a ton of different movies, like live action movies, and they're still making the toys and episodes to this day, I believe.
Oh yeah, and one of the reasons I got sucked into this show was in the 2nd season they brought in Sergeant Slaughter.
Yes.
And at that time I was a big wrestling fan.
Hell yeah.
And all of a sudden Sergeant Slaughter's on this show, and I'm like, oh my god, the 2 best things just combined together. It was amazing.
I was just talking about this with my dad a few weeks ago. My dad, who was in the United States Marine Corps. How was Sergeant Slaughter never brought to charges for impersonating a person in the... He's still, to this day, goes around and portrays a United States Marine Corps staff sergeant. He was never in...
That is a crime. I don't know if most people realize that if you impersonate a military personnel, that's a crime in America.
Yes.
Like if you go to Subway and you've got the gear on just to try and get free food, and they say like, thank you for your service, the food's on us, and you take it, that's a fucking crime in this country.
Illegal.
And a veteran should jump on you and punch you.
Right. Sorry, Sarge.
So, yeah, well, but I think that falls under fair use of parody.
Okay.
Because he's playing a character, not doing it... Yeah, I mean, if he does go to Subway and get free food, and he's like, and takes the free food, then it is a crime. But as long as he only does it in the ring or for show purposes, I think he's okay.
All right.
Because I mean, technically, technically, if we were going to dress up like army people and do a skit on the show right now, we could do that.
Yeah.
And I would hope people didn't think we were in the army. Just because we're wearing costumes on a show, but I don't know. Once again, stick your finger in a gun, see what happens. I don't know.
His arm blew off.
His fucking arm blew off.
One cool thing about Sergeant Slaughter is, like, when you go to a Comic-Con that he's at, for like $40, he'll put you in the Cobra Clutch.
Oh.
And you can get your picture. Nice. Pretty cool. All right, number 4, Ray. We are up to number 4.
Mm-hmm.
The Smurfs.
Yeah.
Led by 543-year-old Papa Smurf, life is seemingly perfect for the three apple tall blue pals living in Smurf Village, except for the times that they must battle the evil wizard Gargamel and his nasty cat Azrael. Are you a fan of the Smurfs?
I'm a fan of Gargamel and Azrael, and I always wanted them to get these goddamn Lestronfs and tear them apart. It's such a dumb concept. They remind me of them things you put that you order out of a magazine in the back. The stupid the shrimp that you buy. I mean, it's just a dumb concept. It's all right. What are we gonna call him? Handy. Great. Next, Grumpy. Okay, good. And I'm like, the only two characters that are worth a show on this whole show is Gargamel and Azrael. They're the only interesting characters to me. And I felt bad for them every time I watched it. I was like, you get them next week.
It's basically like the dwarfs, the 7 dwarfs, right? They're all named after what they do.
Yeah.
But this is like what a cartoon, like when you think of, like they're not real, they're fake characters. It's fantasy.
But how would you like that? You'd be Weedy Smurf and I'd be Drunky Smurf. That wouldn't be fun. No one would want to help us do anything in the village.
Smokey
Smurf.
I'd take it. I'd do it.
Well, yeah, our lives would be super easy.
Hell yeah, dude. All right, this ran from September 12th, 1981 until December 2nd, 1989. This was a long-running show. The first Smurf appeared in Johann and Peewit October 23rd, 1958 in the album La Flûte à Six Schrumpftoufs.
Yes.
Which was the 6th Smurfed flute. I guess that was just a comic strip at the time.
Yes.
So the Smurfs have been around for a long time, but didn't get into animated form on television until the 1981.
Yes, and the theme song went to number 1 in 16 different countries.
Really?
Oh, yeah. That dumb la 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 la. That actually went to number 1 in 16 different countries.
Holy shit, dude.
That's insanity right there.
That is crazy. Holy shit. All right. Top 3.
Yes.
Here we go. Number 3. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. First episode, 1987. December 14th, 1987. Ran for 10 seasons, 193 episodes. Some voices: Cam Clark, Barry Gordon, Rob Paulson, Peter Renaday. It was set in New York City. The series follows the adventures of the Ninja Turtles and their allies as they battle the Shredder, Krang, and numerous other villains and criminals. The property was changed considerably from the darker toned comics to make it more suitable for children and family.
Yes. The comic books, they were black and white. They were gorgeous. Yeah. Loved the Ninja Turtle comic books. I actually love this show, though, too. It's done very well. I love the fact that it's like a sub thing of Daredevil, where they fight the foot instead of the hand. They have Master Splinter instead of the Master Stick. Like, there's all the toxic goo that they both get. And this is all from Eastman and Laird talking about it. Love the Ninja Turtles. I remember me and my buddy, this is a funny thing, we went to see the first movie. And we didn't realize they were going to make it silly like the show. We thought it was going to be more like the comic books. So we get to the theater, and it's like 1990 or whatever it was, and we're metalheads. We got leather jackets, and we're just surrounded by children. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And then the movie started, and I'm like, it's not bad, but man, I really wanted the darker, side of this, but I'll take it. Screw it. I'm laughing along all these kids. It's like a daycare center. It's crazy.
Yeah. Has that ever been done? Has there ever been a darker film made based on the comic books?
I don't think so. And like those comic books are amazing.
Yeah.
Those first ones in black and white, they're beautiful. They're beautifully drawn. But this show is actually a lot of fun. Rocksteady, Bebop, Krang.
Yeah.
I was like 15 when this came on. This is one of the cartoons that I did watch because it was so well done.
What was the guy? Was Krang the brain?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
remember all the toys. I don't remember the cartoon as much as the toys because I remember my cousins all had the toys. They were a little bit younger than I was.
Yeah, the toys were fantastic. The show was fantastic. It's just good humor and a lot of action. So I can see why this one ranks so high with the listeners because this is a fantastic show.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we got juggernauts coming up.
Yeah. All right, last two.
Yeah.
Number 2, Family Guy. Sick, twisted, and politically incorrect. The animated series features the Griffin family. Endearingly ignorant Peter and stay-at-home wife Lois reside in Quahog, Rhode Island. 3 kids, Meg, Chris, and Stewie. And they also have a talking dog named Brian. First episode was January 31st, 1999, created by Seth MacFarlane. Features the voices of MacFarlane, Alex Borstein, Seth Green, Mila Kunis, Mike Henry, Arif Sahir, and Patrick Waterburn. This is the only show, Ray, that I know, and maybe you will be able to correct me here if I'm wrong. This is the only show that I know of that was canceled and brought back years later.
Yeah, due to the fans petitioning.
Right.
Which is almost impossible to do. Like Firefly tried it, never happened. This show, it got brought back, and the reason that American Dad even exists is because this got canceled.
Yeah. Because this got canceled.
Because he thought this wasn't going to come back. I'll do American Dad, I'll move on, and then this came back, and that's how you ended up with the 2 shows.
Ah.
Yeah. I also like that Chris's voice, which is done by Seth Green, was inspired by Buffalo Bill from The Silence of the Lambs.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just think that's just stupid silly. Like that's who he's based off of. And the other fun fact about Chris is that you know how on the show they always make fun of Robot Chicken?
Yeah.
And then Chris gets really upset. That's because Seth Green's the creator of Robot Chicken. Like, it's such a cool tie-in.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
And,
yeah, Family Guy is a great show. They get away with so much stuff that it's just unbelievable as to how they get away with the things that they do.
Yeah, they push the boundaries about as far as they can, and I would love to know what they tried to do and couldn't get on air, because they get things on the air that nobody else could.
Yeah.
Like it reminds me of like Married with Children. You know, pushing the boundaries of just what's acceptable. Right. This is 20 seasons this thing's on. Like, it's ridiculous how long this thing's been on now. And it's still funny.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be scrolling through Facebook, and you'll see the reels, and there's always a Family Guy thing in there, and you poke it, and you're like, all right, let me see what it is. And you just laugh, because it's so goddamn silly.
Do you know how long it was off the air? That's what I don't have written down.
I don't think it was more than a year, because it was back pretty quick.
Okay.
Like, fans got really mad. Yeah. And that's a scary thing for like for Seth MacFarlane, because is someone going to hurt him over a comedy
Right.
show? Like, you took my favorite thing away from me. And I started a petition, and it has 100,000 signatures. And if you don't get this thing going again, I'm going to come to your house, and things are going to happen. Like what? Like you're going to cook me dinner? Oh, no. That is not what I'm coming to your house for. And Seth is like, fuck. Can I do can I do some impressions for you? Like I could do, Brian the dog? Because that's actually his real voice, if you ever noticed.
All right,
Yeah.
Ray.
That show's fantastic.
Number 1.
We made it.
Number 1, and we're not going to go through the bracket because this ended up being the number 1 show for the bracket. Not one person got the bracket exactly right, and those are
no one ever does.
Those are the those are the rules, dude. You got to get it exactly right. I'll keep adding. I promise. I'll keep adding to the prize, but
Yes.
it has to be exactly right. Number 1, The Simpsons.
Yeah.
First episode date, December 17th, 1989. Created by Matt Groening. Voices of Dan Castellaneta, Julie Kavnar, Nancy Cartwright, Yardley Smith, Hank Azaria, and Harry Shearer. Writers, Matt Groening. Basically the same people. Conan O'Brien, Sam Simon, and Al Jean. Amazing show. Keeps rocking still to this day.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome. I mean, what more can you say? It's a fucking great show.
Treehouse of Terror. I mean, just this thing is so far apart from everything else. It just keeps going and going and going. And they do taking Apu away. I was mad, but still good.
Yeah.
But like I said, Treehouse of Terror. When you watch those, they really up the bar with like Monkey Paw and I Know What You did do last summer or whatever it was. They're just so funny. And I do like that they never aged them. They kept them exactly the same for, what are we at? 33 years or whatever?
Something like that, yeah.
33 years Bart's been in grade school.
Yep.
That's like Groundhog's Day right there, because he just never figured it out how to get out of the loop.
Yeah, multiple, I mean, any celebrity, you're trying, this is like a show that you want to get your voice on also, right? Like, they've had multiple celebrity guests over the years.
Yeah, and I just looked this up because I thought it was weird. Like the longest running showrunner was Al Jean, and he ran it from season 13 to season 31. His net worth is $200 million.
Jesus.
Just from running The Simpsons. Like, man, that's easy money. Just telling other people stuff.
Right, because basically, I mean, you're the showrunner for a show that's already been running smoothly for
13 years before you got there.
Right.
Like,
okay, keep doing what you're doing.
Continue. Very good. I'll be in my office.
Yeah, everything looks good.
Yes, I'd like a latte, please.
Right.
Everybody knows The Simpsons, so.
Yeah, man. All right, buddy. This has been fun, Ray.
This has been fantastic.
You got it. Oh, so one more thing. Before we got started, you wanted to say some shows, some cartoons that maybe should have been on the list, but weren't.
Ren and Stimpy, Transformers, man, 80s. There's a 90s. I think those are the two that I really think should have been there. They're both really fun to watch. Like giant robots just messing shit up, and Ren and Stimpy. I think that's one of the greatest shows ever created. Yeah. Especially when you start thinking about the songs like Happy Happy Joy Joy and the Log, So, but I also want to point out that this fall we multiple podcasts from the Den are participating in what I'm doing with fantasy football, which is called Modern Warfare. And we will be having a fantasy football league to decide whose podcast is the best at fantasy sports. So
there you go. And are there still open slots on that, or
there are some open slots if anybody's interested. You must have a podcast to participate.
okay?
Unless maybe we might bring a listener in, but I doubt it because we have actually 10 podcasts already in, so there's probably 2 spots available. So if you're a podcaster and you're in the den, there's only 4 of us right now. We could use some help with this.
Yeah. Join us up. And all right, we're gonna wrap up here, Ray. Speaking of the Den, go check out Barrel Aged Flicks. They are our podcast of the month over at theden.show. You can support our show by going to patreon.com/deluxe edition pod. We are on Instagram and Twitter at deluxe edition pod, just 1E. You can buy merch. We got t-shirts over at whatamaneuver.net. And you can find all of our past shows over at deluxeedition.show. Thank you, Ray.
Thanks,
this
Casey.
has been fun. Appreciate it. And everyone check out 10 Cent Beer Night podcast over on Spotify and on Facebook.
All right.
And I will see you later.
See ya.
Thanks, brother.
Yep.